Then there's the question about, well, how did you get it? And it's like, does it matter?
Christine Bebo was diagnosed with HIV 10 years ago. She says the stigmas of being diagnosed are still present today, and that fear is a barrier that people face.
There's not like a week that doesn't go by that I have to not deal with some kind of stigma.
Bebo says it's a reason people don't want to get tested for HIV.
It stops them from having these conversations that need to happen.
But it doesn't stop rising HIV rates. Manitoba has 3 times the national average of HIV diagnoses, according to a report from the Manitoba HIV Program. It says 50% of people diagnosed last year were women, and over 73% of people referred to the Manitoba HIV Program self-identified as Indigenous.
Our response needs to look different than what created the problems in the first place.
Dr. Marcia Anderson is Vice Dean of Indigenous Health, Social Justice, and Anti-Racism at the University of Manitoba. She says stigmatization has a big impact on health and health care, especially for people who are already being disproportionately affected.
We have to understand that there are all these layers of stigma and discrimination that people experience. And sometimes layering on that HIV stigma is just one too many things.
I think it tells us a lot about a population at risk. I think there's a lot of things that we need to now work on as a community.
Doctors tracking the data say the situation will likely get worse. Dr. Ken Casper says to be able to find solutions, the Manitoba HIV program needs support from the community, the government, and Indigenous leaders.
This data is going to help us guide those decisions, and it's going to help us guide the discussions.
Anderson says immediate action needs to happen and says it comes down to housing.
People have to have stable and safe housing for their health overall, but to have a safe place from which to receive health care as well.
In its report, the Manitoba HIV program issued 2 broad calls to action. It calls for maximizing treatment as prevention and improving primary care capacity. Joanne Roberts, CBC News, Winnipeg.
An epidemic that is significant.